Hi, it's Greg Dwyer. Welcome to Mindful Conversations After Hours. My guest today is my friend Audrey Carlson. She's an ambassador for the Happiness Club. Audrey, thanks for being on the broadcast.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I expected a hug. The first time I met you, I did a speaking presentation. I think it was January 2nd, and you came up to me and you asked me, first of all, can I hug you? And I said yes. And then you hugged me in a very unique way, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. Tell me about that.
Well, the hug was actually coined by my mentor and dear friend, Dr. Bernie Siegel. And I did a graduate program with him in integrative health and healing, and I went to one of his workshops.
Oh, nice.
And I hugged him, and he said, that was very nice, but wouldn't you like to do it even better? Wouldn't you like that hug to have more meaning?
Who wouldn't like to improve their hug? Right?
I said, I didn't know I was hugging you wrong. He said,
Right.
he said heart to heart.
Ah.
He said, you hug heart to heart with a pause,
Right.
and you deliver, bam, into someone's heart, a giant hug of love and healing.
Wow.
And you tell them that verbally.
Right.
So it's a really special way, and I have to tell you, I hug people I don't know every day.
You do.
Which I guess makes me the happiness ambassador, right?
So you don't have a quota, you just do it, it comes natural?
It does.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Well, I have to tell you, it did make an impression on me because, you know, when you meet people professionally, they shake your hands or they hug you or there's some kind of exchange. But what you said after that, I stopped and thought to myself, what a kind thing to say. It's almost like you break a person's pattern because maybe they're worried about something or they're anxious about something.
Right.
And you never know at all.
You can never hug or love anyone too much.
Oh, I love it.
And there are so many people out there that don't have anyone to hug them.
Right.
So
Right.
it's pretty powerful.
And not to mention the fact that sometimes people will get on Facebook and they'll just spend all their time on social media and they're looking for some kind of real connection.
Right.
And they can't get it on a computer. You just can't.
No.
So you're the happiness ambassador. There has to be a backstory about that. I mean, you don't just sign up for that. How did this happen?
Organically.
Okay.
It happened organically. It happened 5 years ago this spring.
Oh, wow.
And the story starts with actually something that was not happy at all. You see.
A sad thing.
A very, very traumatic event happened in 2002 when our daughter Elizabeth was tragically taken from us.
Okay.
And I had to navigate a new way to find happiness.
Or meaning. Yeah.
Purpose, meaning
Right.
and purpose
Sure.
in my life.
Sure.
And I didn't know that I could be happy again at that time.
Right.
So I never blamed God.
Right.
I always kept my faith.
But you must have been shocked at first, no? Did you go through the whole cycle, or what?
Of course we did.
Okay,
we went
shocked.
through, you know, it's like the seasons. It's there's seasons. You
Yes.
go through all the seasons, and
Yes.
it's not real.
And you can't get away from going through the seasons. It has to happen.
That's right.
Right.
You go through the cycles and the seasons. It's not real.
Right.
You have to go through a period of anger. You can't dismiss any of the cycles of going through grief,
Right.
because it will come and take you down under.
Later, yes.
So the therapy that I went through for obviously post-traumatic syndrome and my family, we all learned that you had to go through each step, acknowledge it,
Yep.
and trust the process.
Exactly. And it
So-
takes time. It's not a microwave thing.
The first year, it's not real.
Right.
The first year, nothing is real. You're not even breathing.
Yes.
And it's not until the second year that things you can process and start to breathe again and try to make some sense out of things, even though it was senseless. You
Sure.
need to find a way to make some sense.
Right.
So that being said, like I said, I never blamed God. A lot of people do.
Right.
They lose their way.
Or they lose faith, or they walk away from whatever they believed before, you know.
That's right.
Yep.
So what I did is I was out running one day with my running group, and I ended up at a friend's house where she had piles of books piled up on her counter, all on basically integrative health and healing, spiritual help, a lot of self-help books.
Sure.
But she was taking a program at the Graduate Institute in Bethany, Connecticut, called the Graduate Institute, where Bernie Siegel was on staff.
I know that name. In fact, my mom knew that name. And so,
Right.
yeah, I have some of his books.
He's a legend.
Right.
So Dr. Bernie Siegel was on staff, and he also saved my mother's life back in the day with lymphoma.
How did that happen? What was the story there?
Well, my mother developed non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and she went to one of his workshops and started to read his books and listen to his CDs on how to understand that the body naturally wants to heal itself.
Is this very similar to Louise Hay's?
Very much.
You can heal your body.
Correct.
You know, the connection between mind and body and spirit's all connected
That's
together.
right.
Okay.
And he's largely known for Love, Medicine, and Miracles, Peace, Love, and Healing, and many, many other books that he has and continues to write.
Okay, wow. And how old is he now?
85,
And
a young 85.
And he continues to write.
And I
That's
can't
wonderful.
keep up with him.
That's wonderful.
Right?
He must have a lot of passion, and he's driven by love.
That's right.
Right.
So that being said, I went to the school as soon as I saw my friend's books and I realized what she was studying, and something just clicked in me, and all I can tell you is these are the words I used with my husband. I said to Bruce, I feel like there's a magnet in me pulling me that I need to take a program of study in this master's program so I can find the answers. I had a lot of questions with no answers.
Was he very supportive?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
So we drove the next day to the school, and I wrote a letter to Dr. Bernie Siegel asking if he would indeed be my mentor, my teacher.
Oh, wow.
And he said, of course, show up at my house next Friday with a legal pad with your first 10 questions.
What year was this?
This is about 12 years ago.
Wow. It's almost like a disciple finding a mentor.
Right.
You know, like I'm talking Old Testament, I'm talking New Testament, I'm talking hundreds of years ago.
Absolutely.
That's how it worked.
And he continues to be that individual for everybody.
That's amazing.
And what distinguishes Bernie Siegel from all his other cohorts, if you will, is that if you reach out to him and his website, or you just go to one of his happiness clubs, or just reach out to him, he will get back to you that day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's different from a lot of these speakers and celebrities that, come to my boot camp in California. It's $5,000 to come. You know, he's not that way, is he?
No.
Okay, yeah. This is refreshing, very refreshing.
So I showed up at his house with a legal pad. And he said, so what's your first question? I said, well, this might be a tough one. He said, I'm sure I have the answer.
He said that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I said, can people be born evil?
Wow. Wonder what the question is behind the question. That's what I'd want to know, right?
Well, I wanted to know, can people be born evil because our daughter was murdered?
Right.
So he said, absolutely not. I said, really? He said, it's in the absence of love that people do bad things. And I said, I believe you 98%, but there's a 2% of me that's pinging that says there's something else I don't know. And he says, good, I want you to have questions, and I want you to always question me. So your first assignment is to go to the prison system and ask the prisoners yourself.
What did you think of that when he told you to do that?
I was pretty much blown out of the water because that was the last place I wanted to be, wanted to go, but I had to just trust what he was saying to be true.
Right.
So I didn't question it. He immediately said, what's your next question?
He reminds me of a rabbi. He reminds me of a teacher that doesn't just teach philosophy, but actually gives you assignments. And did you go to the prison?
Oh, wait.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of you.
He said, the second question. I said, so I'm a hygienist in a practice where we have multicultural patients that come in, and I have gobbles of these patients that are deeply rooted in their Catholic faith. And God bless them, every one of them, all the Marias that showed up in my schedule, all said to me, if you don't forgive him, you're going to go to hell.
They said that. What was your reaction? Was it a loving reaction, or were you upset?
I was startled.
Yeah, sure.
Surprised.
Right.
I was pretty much speechless.
I would think so.
So I said, I'm living in that hell right now. I don't think it can get much worse. I can't imagine that I would go to hell if I don't forgive him. But I knew that I had to find a place where I couldn't live with anger, bitterness, and hatred.
Right.
So I knew I had to find another word. So I said to Bernie, you know, I got to find my way here. And he said, well, you're going to find another word. Your next assignment is you're going to study pastoral counseling at Mount Sinai Hospital with Reverend Henderson. So,
That's amazing. And let me ask you this, what's your religious heritage or your
so
background?
I'm Jewish.
You're Jewish, right?
So I'm Jewish, and
Yeah.
so I was sent off to study in a predominantly all-Christian pastoral counseling program, which was fabulous.
Wow.
Because it was powerful, profound. I met amazing people, and it gave you in-depth understanding it all comes out to be the same stuff.
So you're very ecumenical.
Of course.
Okay. All right.
He said, "What's your next question?"
Now, this happened the first hour or the first?
I was at his house for the first few hours on a Friday.
Okay.
What's your third question? I said,
wow.
"Well," I said, "I got to tell you, I have marveled and I have been in awe of you my whole life. I have many of your books, and I want to know what your mantras are. I want to know what words you live by."
Really?
And he said, "You have to really understand what I'm saying here. You have to do what makes you happy."
Right.
He said, "A lot of what you do makes other people happy. What do you do if you were to carve out no less than 10, 20% of the day to fill your own bucket? What do you do to make yourself happy?"
That's an important question, because if you're just living for everyone else, or if you've lived
Right.
for everyone else, that can build up a lot of anger and maybe physical harm to your body. You have to do what you're passionate about.
So he said, "Next week when you come, you're going to write down a list of all the things that make you happy."
Wow.
And then I said, "Well, what do you do for meditation?"
Right.
He said, "If you think I sit and say, you're wrong.
Okay.
I don't do that."
All right.
I said, "What do you do?" He said, "My definition of meditation is whatever you do where you get lost in time."
That's what you said to me at dinner the other day.
Correct.
And I wanted to remember what that was.
You get lost in
So you
time.
get lost in time.
What do you do when you get lost in time? I said, "I get lost in piano and music.
Okay.
I sometimes have these incredible conversations where I get lost in time. Many things." He said, "Well, you need to do more of that, and that is your meditation."
Give me some more examples of being lost in time, because when I think of being lost in time, I think of traditional meditation. I think of reflection, contemplation. But it could be jogging, right?
Yes.
It could be exercise,
Yes.
music. What other things? I'm really curious about
Well,
this.
he went on to say what he does is he walks every
Walks.
day.
Okay, great.
And he said, this is very important that you write this down.
Okay.
He basically said that all the answers you seek come from within. And when you struggle to find those answers, they can be found in nature, because we're connected to all the seasons. You need to walk, unplug. You need to unplug. You need to walk and really zero in on what's around you, the trees, the birds. Pay attention to the water. Pay attention to a brook in the spring as it finds its way around the rocks that represent the obstacles in our lives. Pay attention to that, because those rocks aren't going anywhere. And then winter comes and it freezes, and we get stuck. We all get stuck at periods of time. And you have to trust that the sun is going to come out, and the water will soon again find its way. And that's what you will do. You will always find your way around those rocks, but you need to trust the process, know the answers come from within, and walk every day.
It's a wonderful sermon.
You
It's a wonderful
and you find
message.
clarity, and you find the answers you need. So,
By reflection, by contemplation, by being lost in time.
lost in time,
Lost in time.
right?
Right. How many people really do that, do you think?
Not enough.
Not enough. And that's why there's road rage. That's why maybe people are angry about the president, or they're angry about politics, or they're angry
Right.
about
They could be angry at their
anything.
a family member. They could be angry. Usually, it's within. They're angry at themselves.
Right.
And then they project it on other people.
Sure.
And if they just went for a walk, everybody's got a pair of sneakers. Just walk.
Right.
Unplug. Go for a walk. I mean, from a physiological standpoint, you're going to be
Right.
pumping in all these wonderful happy hormones, your serotonins and your oxytocins, and you're going to pump oxygen and blood, and you're going to think clearly, and you're going to come back energized.
Right.
And you'll have the answers you need.
Right.
So then I said
love
to
this.
him, yes. So I said, what other words do you live by, and what other books do you read? What can you recommend for me? He said, come with me. So we walked through his house into this office, and it was really something, because he had bookcases floor to ceiling all the way around.
Right.
and he had like a little step stool like that allowed him to climb. And he made me sit on the floor, and he would throw me books.
Really? What did you think of this? Did you think you entered some kind of like...
I said, well, yes, he's so approachable, so casual. I felt like I was with my grandfather, you know?
Yeah,
It was
sure.
just so comfortable, but I was at the same time in awe.
I would think. I'm in awe just listening to this.
This is something, so I'm sitting on the floor,
Yeah.
and he climbs to the top, and he said, the first book he throws to me is Thornton Wilder's book, The Bridges of San Luis Rey.
Okay.
And it was held together with a rubber band. The binding had, the glue was drying out, so the
Yeah,
pages were starting to, so he had rubber bands.
Okay.
And so he said, be very careful with this book.
Right.
It's priceless.
Right.
He said, you asked me the words I live by, it's in the back of the book.
Really?
Read close to the last paragraph. To paraphrase,
Okay.
love is eternal.
Right.
There is the land of the living and the land of the dead,
Right.
and the bridge is love.
Really? Wow. So love is
So,
everything.
Love is everything, and it's eternal.
Okay.
Wait, this is going to be a very powerful sentence, and I'm going to explain to you when we get there, but I can't tell you yet. It's really beyond magical, beyond spiritual. These are the daily miracles that happen that you never question. So he threw me down Dan Millman's The Peaceful Warrior and Solzhenitsyn and all these books that he's been reading for years and years and years that he treasures.
Sure.
And so he gave me this basket like Little Red Riding Hood with this big handle on it, and he's throwing the books in there. So he says, come. He says, I'll walk you out. He says, you have homework. So I said, I have homework. He says, you're going to read all these books, write reports on them, and get back to me on Friday.
Wow.
I said, is this a joke? He said, yes.
That's funny. Oh my goodness.
Well, at first it wasn't so funny, but then it was funny.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Right.
So we walked out to the car, and he said, remember all of these assignments. You're going to go to the prison system. You're going to ask the prisoners if they were loved.
Oh my goodness, what a profound question.
You're going to go to pastoral counseling, and you're going to find a new word for forgiveness, and you're going to understand it at a level you never knew. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to start to read as much as you can get your hands on, but I'm giving you another assignment. I said, what is it? He said, I want you to seek out that person in society that nobody else will sit next to and find out what their wounds are and share your own.
That's profound. How did you feel when he told you to do that?
Well, I thought about it, and I said, I don't know how to say this other than it's an assignment, but I've been doing this my whole life.
Okay.
I've always sat next to that one person nobody else will sit next to, but I didn't do it as an assignment.
Sure.
And, share my wounds and find out what theirs are. It just happened, but I had an assignment. He said, then you'll report back next Friday. So I hop in the car. You have to understand, my feet aren't hitting the ground. My head is just,
Oh, sure.
I'm just over the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm driving from his house to Woodbridge down the Merritt Parkway, and it was a very beautiful day, the kind of day that you want to put in a bottle.
Yeah.
So the blue sky and perfect cumulus clouds. So here's where it comes together. Well, I'm driving, and my head is swirling with all the thoughts and all the things that he was sharing with me, and then it happened.
What happened?
The book. Thornton Wilder's book, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, the bridge of the land of the land of the living and the land of the dead.
What happened? What did you see? Did you see something?
Yes.
What happened?
I was driving down the highway, and there were these giant cumulus clouds miles apart, and as if somebody put their hand in the sky and drew 5 lines from one cloud to the next. There it was.
A bridge?
It was the bridge of love, and it was in
Wow.
the sky. It was validated for me to never question any assignment and to never question his words, because they were true, they were real, and it was yet another validation to trust.
Did you?
So I had to pull over. I pulled
you?
over. I was pretty emotional, and it was, it was basically written in the sky.
Yeah. It was like a Constantine moment. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
it gets better.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm driving home, and I'm trying to focus on the driving, but I'm really struggling because my mind is all over the place.
Oh, sure.
Right? And I get home, nobody's home, but the phone there was a message, and it was going beep, beep, beep.
Sure.
I pushed the button. Audrey Carlson, this is Susie Hicker calling from the Brooklyn prison in Brooklyn, Connecticut. We got your name from the club nobody wants to belong to, the Survivors of Homicide. We got your name from a list called Voices.
Right.
And our speaker for tomorrow canceled. Would you come in tomorrow to speak to 100 prisoners?
You got to be kidding
and tell
me.
your story?
You
No,
got to be kidding
no,
me.
no.
Did you do it?
Sure did.
You did.
I had to take a deep breath
getting
because
chills.
I was blown away with the power that Bernie Siegel, the power of intention.
Right.
All the things that were happening as if he was directly connected. So I called him up.
Right.
And I said, I don't know how to say this other than I just left your house an hour ago.
Right.
I saw the bridge of love that was written in the sky with the clouds with 5 lines connecting. And then I get home and I get a phone call from the Brooklyn prison to come in as a speaker for their Voices program.
Right.
What did you do?
What did he say to you when you said that?
Well,
His intention was just so strong, you think? or
he
what?
said, I didn't tell you that when I was a little kid, I died and I went to heaven.
Okay.
I choked on a toy. I died. I had a near-death experience.
Okay.
He said, I met the chairman of the board, and I'm not talking Frank Sinatra.
Really?
He said, I met God.
Okay.
And I have been deeply connected, and I have been getting messages, and I have been guided by God ever since.
Wow.
And I put it out there for you. I said, but in an hour?
Really?
This all happened.
Right.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. And to me, when I was in...
I mean, come on.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's no way. I mean, you got to write this down. When I was in high school, I was a magician, and I loved tricks, and I loved magic, and I loved sleight of hand. But when I was in high school, my last thing that I wrote before I graduated was, I want to find the real magic in life. And what you're talking to me is about pure intention, a connection that's supernatural.
Miracles.
Miracles. Yeah, it's...
These are miracles.
Yes, yeah. And I do believe in that. And I think our society is so scattered that they don't know that there is a connection and that you can make things happen and you can change and you can go through a tragic situation and then reform it.
There are daily miracles that we all, if we just paid attention to them.
If you paid attention to them, yeah, if you
Right.
saw them. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Wow.
So,
Now, I have to warn you, because I know we're in the middle of this. We only have like 2 minutes left, so we're going to have you back. So would you come back for sure?
I would love to come back, 'cause this
is
isn't
a cliffhanger. I mean, what we're talking about
this
here.
is an incredible story.
Yeah. So tell us a little more. But I'm saying we got about a minute. So bring us up to where you made the next leap, and then we'll have you back. So go ahead. I just
Okay.
wanted to give you a point.
Do you want me to go right into the prison system, or do you want me to
We
come back
literally
to
have
that?
1 minute. We have 60 seconds. So let's do this. What are you doing for the next episode? You can come back and do it, right? It's good?
I can come back,
Okay, all right.
absolutely.
So let's do this. How do folks get a hold of you? I know you do the Happiness Club. So what's your website? We'll talk about that right now.
HartfordHappiness.com.
Okay.
We meet the first Thursday of the month.
Okay.
All the meetings are free, open to the public at the Town and County Club.
Okay.
7 to 8:30. Free parking, free everything, and it's pretty terrific.
Yeah, I thank you for having me come out. I was
Yeah,
there
it's pretty
January
wonderful.
2nd. What a great group of people. So, all right, Audrey, we'll have you back for the next episode.
you.
I know we gave you something to think about, something to take away, a mindful conversation. So we'll catch you next time. Mind yourself. It's Greg Dwyer saying, mind yourself. Audrey, thank you so much.
pleasure.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right.